So Overlord Season 4 has ended, and today I want to make a video talking about my overall thoughts and opinions of Overlord Season 4. Now, I can safely say that Overlord Season 4 is probably one of the best seasons of the Overlord series. That's not to say that Seasons 1, 2, and 3 were bad. I just think Overlord Season 4 kind of gave us the whole picture as not just Ainz as a character, but what he's capable of doing. Now, a while back, I made a video talking about what made Overlord good, and it got really popular, and even though the reception to that video was still good, like I still got more positive feedback than negative, I still got those few comments of people telling me that I was wrong to call Ainz a villain, and I kind of missed the point of Ainz as a character. Now, when I first read those comments a while back, because I don't usually read comments, I was kind of confused as to why people were telling me that I was wrong as to why you cannot consider Ainz as a villain. But this season of Overlord, Season 4, has made me have a different perspective towards Ainz. Now, that doesn't mean that I completely disregard that comment I said of Ainz as a villain, because I think the point I was trying to make in that video was that if this was any other isekai series, and you saw what Ainz was doing, or what he was trying to do or accomplish, you could consider him the antagonist of that series. I think that's what I was trying to say, but I didn't really do a good job explaining that reasoning, so my apologies. But even then, now that we got more information about Ainz as a character in Season 4 and what his true ultimate goal is, now I understand why there were so many people telling me that you shouldn't say that Ainz is a villain, because there's actually more to it than just simply that. And in Season 4 it did prove that, because we find out that Ainz's ultimate goal is just simply to get happiness. He wants the people around him, people like Albedo, Sheltier, all that group, he wants them to have happiness, and it doesn't matter how he gets it, as long as they're happy and as long as they have a happy life, that's all that matters. And after hearing all this, you can kind of understand why Ainz is doing all this, in which in this arc specifically is taking over a kingdom. Ainz is doing all this because he feels that this is going to be one step to getting happiness, so he must do anything he can in order to reach that happiness, because as long as his people are happy, that's all that matters. Sure, you could say that that's just one-sided, because he's actually causing wreck and havoc and is destroying the many lives of other people just to reach that happiness, but for Ainz that's necessary in order to reach his ultimate goal, which is making sure that everyone he cares about gets happiness. This kind of reminds me of Lelouch from Code Geass, where in that series Lelouch thought that everything he was doing was necessary in order to have a better future. He realized that everything he was doing was not good and you consider it very evil, but it was necessary evil according to him, so that the world can have a better future and everyone could live better lives in the future. That's kind of the thing that reminds me of Ainz, where Ainz deep down probably knows that what he's doing may not be correct and may be evil, and maybe something that he would probably never do if he was in his normal world, because of course this is an isekai. But no matter what, as long as his ultimate goal of reaching happiness is reached, then he's willing to do anything, even if it means causing destruction and havoc towards the other people in this world. As long as his people are fine, that's all that matters. So you could say that Ainz is not really the villain of the series. He's more like pretending to be the villain, because he thinks that this is all actions he needs to do. And what I really enjoyed about Season 4 Overlord was just the amount of setup it had. I know people aren't fans of setup episodes, and not just in anime but in any series, usually because setup episodes there's not a lot of action, a lot of anything going on. It's mostly just dialogue or information about the world or the characters or stuff like that. So yeah, setup episodes aren't a huge fan for a lot of people, but what Overlord did right with the setup episodes is that it made them interesting. Season 4 had a good chunk of setup episodes, but they weren't boring or uninteresting to watch. When I watched those episodes, I was interested because it did give us world building of the Overlord series, meaning these episodes were important because it would give us information about what the world of Overlord actually is and how much world building it could get. Every setup episode had a purpose because it would lead to the climax battle towards the end of the season, which was taking over the kingdom. So these setup episodes were important because it will lead to the climax battle in which Ainz is going to take action and take over the kingdom. They're not filler like most people would consider setup episodes to be. They're very important to the story because it helps the story go forward. Because this is Overlord we're talking about, there was going to be moments in which the OP characters, which is mainly Ainz and his group, are going to show just how overpowered they are. And one thing that I enjoyed about Overlord is the fact that even though the characters, the main cast, Ainz and his group, are all overpowered people and characters that you can't defeat easily, it's still enjoyable to see how powerful they are. They don't make them boring, they don't make them uninteresting, because most of the time with isekais especially, when they make a OP protagonist, they make them so boring that you don't really care if they're overpowered. They're just, their personality is just terrible or they're boring to watch, so you don't really care them as a character. But with Ainz in this group, they all have different personalities, so that's why every time they're fighting or they're showing their skills and how good they are, it's always nice to see because, well, they're interesting characters to see and you want to see how powerful they really are. And we also love the moments in which you see characters from the series think they could take down Ainz or one of the people in his group, but they're all wrong because obviously they're just no match for them because they're on a different level. And if we're talking about also how well this series looks as a whole, because it's been a while since we got a new season of Overlord, it looks great. I know many people had like the biggest criticisms towards Overlord, and that's mainly due to the fact that they had a habit of not using CGI well in seasons 1, 2, and 3. There were moments in the Overlord series in which you could tell they were obviously using CGI, and it wasn't that great. It made some of the scenes very not great to see. But with Overlord Season 4, they did a good job of not just animating the fights and the whole world or the monsters really well, but they actually did manage to use the CGI very well. There were moments, well, not many, but there were still a few moments in which while CGI was used, you could barely tell it was CGI. Like, you can still see that they did use CGI, but it's not that noticeable like in the past few seasons. And finally, we have to talk about the ending of Season 4, pretty much what Ainz managed to accomplish, which was take over the kingdom. Now, I think they did a good job in ending Season 4 very well because it shows us that Ainz reached his accomplishment in taking over this kingdom, and it leaves us wanting more. Like, it leaves us wanting to see what's going to happen next. Now that Ainz has gotten his kingdom, what is going to happen next? Like, what is his next plan? And overall, the ending was just spectacular. Like, what happened to this character named Philip, because this guy really thought that what he was doing was the most smartest thing ever, but not only did he make the most dumbest decision ever by making Ainz an enemy, but not only that, but his actions led to the downfall of the kingdom. That's why everything this guy was doing was so stupid, because this is the reason why the kingdom fell, because this guy really thought that he was going to be some sort of genius when he was not. Because originally Ainz's plan to take over the kingdom was not going to be any catastrophic. Ainz had a different plan in taking over this kingdom, but because of Philip and being the smart person he is, his actions gave Ainz the more reason to declare war to the kingdom and thus taking it over completely, because he knew he can easily take over the kingdom, because once again Ainz is a very powerful character. Let's talk about the princess of the kingdom, who, as it turns out, is actually working for Ainz. Yeah, it's already been established in the early episodes of Season 4 that she is in fact working for Ainz, so it's very clear that she is going to betray the kingdom because she is on Ainz's side. One thing that the finale of Season 4 did great was to show us just how evil this princess is. Not only is she crazy, she's just insanely evil. The fact that she was willing to throw this kingdom down just to get her own things just shows us what she was willing to do. She didn't care about the kingdom, she didn't care about the people of the kingdom whatsoever. As long as she got what she wanted, that's all that matters. And it was displayed in the final scenes where she's all happy that she got what she wanted. She's dancing, she's singing, clearly showing us that she has no guilt whatsoever and not even a hint of remorse. And it's already been established that she was insane, but we didn't really know how evil or how truly insane she was until we saw the final episode of Overlord. Overall, I think this was a great season. Not only did it had a lot of setup to show us the world building of Overlord, not only did we have the insane moments, the most crazy moments of Overlord, but also just how interesting the story has gone. And I'm really looking forward to that Overlord movie that's going to be coming next year. And hopefully we do get a season 5. I have heard that the author has already made plans of ending the series, I believe, in a few more volumes. So hopefully season 5 is probably like the finale of Overlord. And while it does suck that Overlord has reached its end, I'm still glad that I watched it, and I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen next with the story. Like I said, can't wait for a movie, and hopefully we do get an announcement that season 5 is going to be made. But until then, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.